morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when this finds you. Just want to talk briefly. This one's not going to be a long one either. But, just have things running around in my mind. And a friend stopped by to visit earlier today. And we were just talking about some things. And, it just triggered some thoughts in my head. Everything's always triggering thoughts in my head. But before I get started, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when it finds you. And in light of everything going on, if you find it in your heart to share it, please share it with some folks. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I ask that you do that as well. And as typical, in the past, every time we hit a presidential election year, normally the month or two before the election, I usually release a video once a week just to kind of give my thoughts on things going on. And this is going to touch on it a little bit, but just going to talk about some other things going on within our communities that we kind of need to take a look at, in my opinion, because there are way too many things going on in our communities for us not to be better off than we are. Something's wrong. There is a disconnect somewhere. And sadly, most black people, I'm not going to say black people because you got black people from all different parts of the world, but most black Americans are more interested in nostalgia than real solutions. See, we have all of these rich black athletes, but we have no community improvement. We have all of these rich entertainers, no community improvement. We think we have had the NAACP for over 100 years. Who's in charge of it? And we have no community improvement. We think we have had the Urban League, National Urban League in our corner for over 100 years. But who's in charge of it, really? And we got no community improvement. We got a civil rights bill 60 years ago. Who was in charge of it? And we still have no community improvement. We got a voting rights bill 59 years ago. Who was in charge of it? And we have no community improvement. We've had all of these Democratic Congressional Black Caucus members for over 50 years. No community improvement. We've had thousands of black Democratic politicians. No community improvement. We have had a half African, not African American, president. No community improvement. We've had Black Lives Matter. Who's in charge of it? But we got no community improvement. We've had lots of black mayors over the years in several of the major cities in this country, and yet we have no community improvement. We've had scores and scores of black Democratic council people, and yet we got no community improvement. We have, and I'm just guesstimating, y'all have heard me say before how many churches I counted one time within a 5-mile square radius of my house. I think it was 42, 44, something like that. That's ridiculous. But we got, on average, we have roughly 5 black churches every 2 miles in all of our neighborhoods around this country. We're supposed to be the most religious, most spiritual people in this country, but we have no community improvement. We have 9 black fraternities and sororities that call themselves the Divine Nine, yet we have no community improvement. We currently have a 25% Jamaican woman running for president of the United States, and yet there will still be no community improvement. There was a rap group here in Houston years ago called the Ghetto Boys, and they had a song called Damn It Feel Good to Be a Gangster. Now, tell me one more time how Republicans and Donald Trump are the cause of our demise, cause of our problem, cause of our issues, cause of our family breakdown. Every time we as a people start working to hold a Democratic Party accountable to us as a people, they throw us a curveball to distract us. They threw us one in 2007, and it kept us lulled into complacency for the next 9 years. See, during this period, we refused to ask them what they were going to do for us in a manner of restoration because they had given us a token. And even though Mitch McConnell said our reparations was his election, well, his story and the story of both of his sides of the families has no connection to the Black Americans whose ancestors were slaves. Zero connection. As a matter of fact, and record, check it for yourself, both sides of his family were active participants in the transatlantic slave trade. Trump wins the election, and all of a sudden, we are actively engaged again because he was painted as the enemy of black people. So they gave you a dude who wrote 4 crime bills to lock up your family members, and like sheep going to the slaughter, we ran down to the polls because Democrat politicians, Democrat pastors, Democrat co-workers, Democrat spouses, Democrat friends, Democrat siblings, Democrat cousin, Democrat grandma, Democrat grandpa, Democrat aunt, Democrat uncle told you y'all had to get Trump out of office. But none of you could think for yourself. You just went off what everybody else told you instead of vetting the candidate for yourself. Now, I've stated many times before, I don't vote anymore, but I can tell you what I want to. See, I can be objective and look at both sides. But I'll tell you what, it's available. It's the White House Gov or Congress Gov, one of them. You can do the research. You got search engines. Go into the public records of your last 3 presidents and look at black progress under Trump versus black progress under Joe Biden and Barack Obama and tell me what you see. I'm not going to tell you what you're going to find because I already know what you're going to find. Obama held parties at the White House with a lot of your black celebrities, and not one of them ever held his feet to the fire and asked him what he was going to do for black American people in this country. Some of them even said if he were white, they would be marching on Capitol Hill to see why he had not done anything for black people, black American people. The Trump administration met with Ice Cube before the last election. The Biden administration told Ice Cube he would have to wait till after the election before Biden would meet with him so they could talk about a program for black Americans. That meeting never took place, and Biden's term is basically up, and he still ain't met with Ice Cube. The meeting never took place, and it still hasn't to this day. Now that black folks are being vocal again about restoration and showing some disdain about not getting anything from the Democrats once again, the Democrats threw another Hail Mary out there. They gave you a partial black woman who has no ties to us, our ancestors, our story, the story of our ancestors, none of our black American history. As a matter of fact, and record, have y'all checked her family history on both sides with regards to the slave trade? I know you haven't, because y'all only care about the ills of the Republican Party because your Democratic handlers told you who to be upset with. I'll talk to you later.